It's all good.
Hey
We'll knock
everybody,
it out.
welcome to the Roundtable Podcast. So,
G'day.
so today we're going to be addressing new players, that haven't that are trying to find their way around, and so we're going to try and help a little bit and maybe give them some direction. So, what do you think, Resin? Is that a good idea?
I agree. There's a lot of things involved in Earth 2 as it is, and a lot of people get quite flustered around, where to start. So you think about your jewels. People don't start off with jewels. Hollow buildings, you need to build those. Is there any benefit to buying any from the bazaar? Um,
Right,
where to buy? How many tiles to buy? What's efficient? What isn't? And then now take into account rating as well.
right, right. So,
There's a lot, and there's no real step by step how to guide. I think there's
no,
bits and pieces here and there. Pacey covers it quite well from each update that has come through.
right.
But I think it'll be good to touch over some strategies that people may not have thought about.
So, okay. So, all right, you're a new player. You're just starting. What or you got a new player that's just starting.
Mm.
So what would you suggest to them for um like okay, buying land?
Hmm.
Okay. So you've got actually three types of tiles out there now, right?
Mm.
Okay, because you
Yeah.
got you got the original tier ones, you got
Hmm.
the new tier ones that are being bought with red energy, and then you got tier twos. Okay. So if you were a new player, what would you be looking? What would you suggest to a new player to look for?
The common misconception when you first join is that you have to buy new tiles off the map, which is not true. Uh, I would be looking at EDC from the marketplace. So any properties that have got that promised essence, because that's going to give you a boost for your first. It could be anywhere between like say 500 to a couple thousand EDC, and that's going to give you a boost with your daily collection. I think that's a good place to start.
Okay.
Um, just with the jewels, for example, you don't have to get to that level where you're crafting and then you're getting the tier three that give you the boost, just any old jewel, because they're 7 6 7 cents, right? It's really not going to be that much out of pocket.
Correct.
Say if you have if you start off with a profile with tier one tiles, a bit of EDC, maybe a couple $100 to get 1,000 tiles, right?
Okay. It's important to get a mentor. So
Mm,
don't you have to have so um wouldn't you want to get at least a small plot of land, maybe because I'm not sure if a mentor, if you can create the mentor without owning a piece of land first.
no, that's right. So
Okay.
uh believe you can still buy mentors
Yeah,
for.
but you
But I wouldn't go down that route. I don't
no.
think it's worth it at this stage. Originally, when we were getting hundreds and hundreds of essence from when it first come out, yeah, maybe you
Right,
could consider it worth it then.
right,
But if you're buying from the marketplace
right.
with promised essence,
Uh-huh.
high chance, I'd say anywhere between 90 and 95% chance that um, a lot of those properties are going to have mentors on them already.
Will the
But
mentors,
also,
okay. Will the
yeah,
mentors
so
transfer over with them? So I'm
yeah,
gonna cut
yeah,
you off a
absolutely.
minute. Okay.
No, that's okay.
Um, okay. In my opinion,
Mm,
I would suggest that somebody get a plot, not necessarily a huge plot of tier two. Start the
mm,
process of getting, because you can still get the mentors free.
mm.
Okay. And it won't cost. If you don't do that, then you have to buy a mentor for every property you purchase, or it has to have a mentor on it.
Correct.
Okay. So
Mm,
if you go the free route, okay, yes, it takes you got 14 days to make 7 visits.
mm,
Okay.
correct.
All right. But once you do that, then mentors are automatically built on every property you buy, whether it has one or not.
Mm, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a good point, actually. And I think the next step for me, so this is the first step, right?
Right. Okay.
Is to get the properties with the mentors generating essence, fill them up with just cheap jewels
Okay.
to get that essence ticking over. And the reason why I say this is because the next step and the next thing that I think that you should do as a new player is
Right.
then focus your attention on rating.
Okay.
So you need the essence balance to build the side roads, and you may even get some for free on the properties for the marketplace, which I found actually there is quite a few that just, I mean, you won't know
Right.
until you buy it.
Sure. Some people I think are advertising with mentors on them on the
Mm.
marketplace, but not necessarily.
You mean side roads?
Side droids
Mm.
is what I was talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Um, all right. So slotting jewels. You're saying just any jewels, not just get yourself get those jewels slotted so that
Mm.
you got the max amount of ether starting to be
Yeah.
or ether being generated.
Mm.
Then
And if you're not precious about having single tiles, if they're only 30, 40 cents each for tier one, you could quite easily just grab 100 of those. What's that? Like $30?
right, right,
And that would at least give you a couple of jewels a day anyway.
right. Okay.
That's a good place to start. So, I mean, from being completely new, you could go, I would be saying maybe a couple $100. Yep. Grab a decent size couple of plots, tier one. I mean, you can get a 750 tier one for like $250
Right,
after red energy. So that's a sizable plot. And then you could even, just for that essence generation, but that won't necessarily have promised essence. So let's just pedal back a bit.
sure.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's my strategy. What's your strategy?
Basically the same thing you said. Okay.
Mm,
I would suggest that somebody take and go to the marketplace, look for tier ones that have promise essence, and then get your essence built up so you can get a Sidroid, one or two.
correct.
Okay, so you can start
Yeah.
rating.
Mm,
Um, it
sure.
depending upon how much money you have involved, or how much you can commit to the game, then
Mm,
depends on how fast you might be able to grow.
mm. I think the amount of money you want to spend is also dependent on how much you believe in the project, where it's going to go, and how much you immerse yourself in the devlogs, the E2V1 video into Discord as well. So when I
Right,
first joined, I just logged in, bought a couple tiles, and then kind of sat there. And this is just before Jules came out. And I bought new tiles because I didn't have any guidance or anything like that. So I think they did put some ads up that were saying join our community Discord, this and that. But when you look at the membership count on that server, it hasn't really grown in the last 2 years. It has stagnated around 24,000.
right.
And I mean, is everyone on there chatting? Not necessarily. I mean, you'll find that in most communities. So maybe a couple of hundred people are there regularly talking.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know the it's been lacking a little bit in guidance for people.
Mm,
So okay, so you got your land.
mm.
What would you do next? What would you
So the
suggest?
next piece is slotting the jewels.
Right.
So if you've got a spare $5, $10, that shouldn't really be too hard, depending on the range of the properties that you get.
Sure. I think I agree. I think I would take and put some money into buying jewels,
Mm,
And looking, there's a lot of different charts out there for that describes crafting jewels that are really good.
mm,
And so I would take, because jewels are relatively cheap, and you
mm,
could take and get, if you got a tier one, a 200, 300, or more, you got 6 slots. It wouldn't really cost you that much to slot all those, slot that property with all tier threes.
mm. Yeah, that's right. And I think you can go either route. You can go, no, I want jewels now, and start slotting them to get that essence generation kicked up a little bit.
Right,
Or you could go $30, go to marketplace, get every single tile that's there. So what I mean by a single tile is the jewels will generate based on how many properties you have, not
right,
necessarily how many tiles you have. Okay,
correct,
so this is where the term single tile jewel farms come in,
right,
because each property, I think it's, let's say you have 60 properties, they're all just one tile.
right.
They should generate roughly one jewel per day.
Possibility. I don't know what the averages are on that. And
Yeah,
unfortunately,
look,
I have
it
a,
changes.
yeah,
It changes sometimes.
I have I started a small account, and I did just that. I got a 100 tile jewel farm slot, and
Mm,
I get about 2 jewels a week out of it.
yeah, really.
Yep,
Are they tier one tiles?
yep. Tier one,
Yeah,
tier ones
right.
with red energy, made up,
Hmm.
made them all tier ones with red energy. Yeah, I thought too that I would get at least 1 or 2 a day. But
Hmm.
it's actually been working out to that. No, I've only been, actually, I think it's like one every other day.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, so I think there was some chatter around some discrepancies when it comes to ether and essence generation with
uh-huh,
the tiles that have come from red energy
right.
versus the tiles that were bought before we had the promised essence. So yeah, I'm not too sure on the facts of that, but there was a couple of people who weren't too happy that they had bought two 750s, the exact same size with red energy,
Uh-huh.
and then they were comparing how much ether each of them produces, and the difference was phenomenal.
I just realized something.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Um, so you're talking about buying tier one tiles out of the marketplace that are
Mm.
original tier ones, not red energy
Yes.
tier ones.
Yes, because the original tier ones will have promise essence.
Yes, but I'm talking about for the jewel farm also.
Oh,
It's
okay.
possible, it is possible that
Mm,
original tier ones, and now this is going to be the difficult part,
mm,
determining which ones are original tier ones and which ones aren't original tier ones, because there's a lot of red energy tier ones out there now too.
yes, correct. So what I would say is that when you look at the new land value, if the new land value is under 50 cents, then it is red energy tier one,
Okay. Okay.
because every other country that was open before they closed tier one land
Right.
buying, I think the lowest was 70 cents.
Okay.
So if the new land value is under that, it means that it's been bought with red energy, or it was like super, super, super early when it was actually open and then they closed the country, which has happened.
Right. Okay.
I think it was Nauru was a country that was like that.
Uh-huh.
Sovereign territories, which is I don't know how you pronounce it, Akratory,
Oh,
and yeah, that one.
equatorial. Uh-huh.
That one.
Okay.
um, there was another one as well. I can't remember where it was. Comoros was another one. And I know this because people had built mega city projects there as well.
Okay.
Early days, early days.
Early days, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Okay,
So moving on from that, yeah, there may be some discrepancies there with the dual farming, and I'd probably heed warning to anyone who's looking at doing it. I suspect that in the future that may not always generate that.
right,
And the reason why I say this is because they talk about features in E2V1, which is about scavenging, hunting,
sure,
looting, and that may be involved in that as well.
right. I'm that's why I wouldn't be inclined to uh tell a new investor or new player to take and go try setting up a jewel farm.
Yeah, sure.
I've known, yeah, listening or reading the various updates and the vlogs and stuff like this. They actually are planning on having a civilian that will be like you said, scavenging and stuff like this. And so
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I don't know that jewels will be as easily found just popping up on the ground, detected by the
Mm,
Mentor now, or and you'll have to actually look for them in the future, I
mm.
think. Maybe.
It's interesting that you say that as well, moving away from um, what we should do as a new player and considering some of the things in speculation that will come out that I think people should be considering. So Shane, CEO, mentioned quite a number of times that things are going to get harder. Like you say, we may have to synthesize a civilian in order to collect, scavenge, loot, all the rest of it.
Right.
And I suspect that there will be it'll be harder to collect our ether balances. So you've seen the rating screen. You have to go down, charge, charge, charge,
Right.
charge, right?
Right.
I'm suspecting that in line with the player-to-player contracts,
Right.
that we are going to have a collect ether, collect ether, collect ether, and we're going to have to collect from every single property manually, and that's where a lot of us are going to go. Sorry, I don't have time for this, and then we'll contract that out to someone else, and they'll get a
Right.
tiny portion of it.
Okay. All right.
Circling back to the things that new players should consider. So we've already gone over a strategy for the first tiles to buy, and talking about which country you want to buy in. I don't think that that's overly important in regards to a starting point, because the starting point you want to get to is that you've got an essence ether balance that you'll be able to use later for
You
gameplay aspects.
Correct. You need to be able to start building that balance because you need to have the essence in order to get
Correct.
various things, as well as collecting the ether.
Mm,
So another thing I would suggest to a new player is to look for a group, a mega city project to get involved in, or a group to get
absolutely.
involved in,
Mm,
because then you have the support, and when you're having a question, you
mm.
have enough people out there to help.
Yeah, that's
What do you
right.
think?
And it is good um to do that, because like I said before, I didn't necessarily go to Discord first. I didn't even know what Discord was. I think when I looked at it, I thought, oh, this is the app that people use when they want to play video games, like
Yep.
shoot 'em ups or whatever. And that's just the connects the voice channel, which I think that's its intended purpose initially. And now we have metaverse projects, we have developments the development teams, and I think the voice chat is quite good. So that's kind of the key to why people use it.
Right.
um and then once I did join the Discord, I basically went head first.
Right.
I really dived into it, and I think if people really want to do that, they can. But it does take a lot of time. initially on top of that, so you can still play the game without having that discourse, I suppose. But it does help. It really does help.
I agree. Alrighty.
Mm,
So, and
yeah.
there are a lot of different groups that you can
Mm,
take in, that you can that a person could get it involved in. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, I would think I suggest them to at least get into E2 official first.
Mm,
Earth
yes,
2
correct.
official
So
Discord channel.
yes.
And then they do have that segment for the different mega cities that is, well, it's okay. I
Mm.
um it would be nice
I,
if they kind of listed them out instead of just did the promotion, but
yeah, look, in my opinion, it needs to be reviewed because if a new player comes in and then goes to a mega city project or a community group, and then they go into the Discord, they type a message in one of their chat channels, and if they don't get a response within 3 to 4 days from someone,
right,
how does that look for the project? I don't think
sure,
people should have community Discord servers on that list if they're not going to at least service the community that's supporting them. And what I mean by that is someone goes and buys tiles in your mega city, even
yeah,
before you've said a single word, just because you've got your name on that list,
right,
and then you don't talk to them.
right,
That's not cool to
right.
me. You know.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you
Mm,
100%.
mm.
It's that's kind of why I like ours. uh, but
Yeah.
Pacey's really pretty good, and
Yeah, no, he is.
their Discord channel. Um,
Mm.
Boondocks, okay.
Yep.
Valhalla is a little, sometimes they're a little slow, but um,
They're too busy drinking beer and eating bacon.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. If you're going to have the Discord channel, you're going to have the Mega City, then you need to be involved with the people if you
Yeah.
come in, you know.
It doesn't take much to log into your own Discord server
Right,
once every couple of days and just check in on things any more than it is like checking your email or checking your letterbox, you know.
right,
Really not that hard. And I would implore people, not that they're going to see this message because they're probably off on some Earth One adventure right now, waiting to get rich. Um, you know, I'm just kidding. But yeah, look, it does sound a little bit negative when I say that, but on the flip side, it is encouraging, um, people to really facilitate something that they've committed to. And if you're not going to commit to it, then that's fine. Let Malta take all the spoils. I'm not going to complain at all.
I hear you.
No, but there is a lot of great people out there. You could talk to Kissy, you could talk to Pacey, you could talk to Yenna. Um, they're the three people that spring up in my mind that are always happy to go out of
Right,
their way to help you.
right.
That's just in the general discourse. So, um, yeah, no, some great people who will just they any time of the day they'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, I know Pacey, Kissy, Yana, they're always there. I mean, whether you're in
Mm,
Discord, whether you're in Twitter, you
mm,
generally get a response from them pretty quickly. And
mm. Yeah,
maybe maybe us too. If
yeah. No, I'm happy to help. Happy to help anyone and give them hints and tips. I mean, I've made the mistakes, and I think a lot of us have.
right,
Um, in regards to strategies, which is how we learn. Okay. So I'm happy to, guide people in the right direction or help them. Like I always, if I've got something to give, then I will give it 100% any time of day. If people need some tiles, I'm always happy to offer some tiles out.
yes,
Got to start somewhere.
yes. I'm right
Mm.
there with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So any final words of wisdom for a new player?
Just, yeah, get involved with the community. I think that's probably the biggest aspect to it right now, whilst we don't have any way to communicate on the platform. Definitely jump into either the Discord is probably the one that I would suggest the most, or you could go the Facebook group. Generally, they're pretty helpful, but Discord's much better, I think. And the other thing I'd like to mention is that I like your hat.
Thank you very much.
uh,
Yes, I recommend any new player, anybody that's first looking at us to get involved in the Discord channel with the E2 official. There are other channels, Knights of Malta, Soon City, um, that they will be more than willing to help you.
mm,
Also, check out the Twitter page
yes.
as well
Mm,
for E2 and Kissy 85, Pacey. That's Pacey. These are people that'll help you get along in the game.
mm.
So
Or just send us a message if
yes,
that's too overwhelming. Either on the YouTube or one of our socials. Be more than happy to help.
right, yes, yeah. Put a message down below, and we'll be more than willing to help you out and answer any questions we can. So, well, that's
Awesome.
our show for this week. I thank you for watching. Y'all have a great
Thanks
week.
for coming on.